Hey everyone, Nathan here from TrueFire. TrueFire proudly partners with Grammy Award winners, top session players, and world-class educators to produce the planet's most comprehensive portfolio of immersive music-making apps, interactive documentaries, and contextual learning experiences. At TrueFire, you can practice smart and play hard with the best in the biz. Each week, we'll be featuring one of our top educators and providing you with a glimpse into their educational libraries. Tune in each week and don't forget to subscribe. Now today, we'd like to feature Steve Vai.
While many musicians fit easily into a single category, Steve Vai's unique musical vision remains unclassifiable. After more than 20 years, he continues to use unbridled guitar virtuosity and soulful artistry to explore the spectrum of human emotion. Today, we'd like to feature 3 free lessons from Steve's TrueFire course, Alien Guitar Secrets, Passion, and Warfare.
Okay, next up is a song called Sisters that was written for my sisters, Lillian and Pamela, one of my best friends. And it was very simple. I love this track. I wrote it like in high school or something. I just had it kicking around and it was very simple chord changes. So the chords are very simple. So this song demonstrates a kind of an interesting thing you can do when you just have chord changes, but you want it to sound a little more melodic, a little more like a piece of music, a little more arrangement to it. So I just started fooling around with the chord changes, and eventually this sweet melody chordal thing came out. It actually goes... goes on from there. But I just like the way it resolved and the way it evolved. And, you know, one of the things, I had an opportunity to work with Ozzy. It was great. It was crazy. We spent like 3 months in my studio once writing music. And it was for one of his records. He only needed like a couple of songs, but we really hit it off. So we spent a lot of time. And, you know, he's a very intuitive guy, actually, and he really knows what he likes and he knows what he doesn't like. And he said something that was very interesting to me. It just goes to show you, you don't have to be a guitar player to inspire a guitar player. I had, when I started working with him, a lot of the stuff I was writing was just chord changes, like, you know, just regular chords, you know, and that was all fine and good, but there was no real arrangement to it. And he mentioned there's no part. I brought in this one song and it was just me playing chords, you know, and he goes, there's no part to it. Can you create something that sounds like it's a cool guitar part? And I thought, this is great. I've got Ozzy Osbourne telling me that I need to come up with a cool guitar part, not just chord changes. And it really stuck. So I'm passing it on to you. Unless, of course, you want just heavy chord changes. But even in any, if you listen to like Led Zeppelin music, it's a beautiful example of very rich, richly constructed guitar parts around basic chord changes. Sometimes not so basic, but still accessible even so. So that was just, the Sisters is sort of like a little example of that, where I just took simple chords and created a riff around it. And it goes on, and it, you know, if you listen to this track, you can hear how it explores various riffs, but the chords are still there. So your assignment for this song is to write a song with just a few chords that you really like, and then embellish the hell out of it. Come up with 10 different ways of going from one chord to another with interesting things in between, and meditate on it. And you'll just be so surprised what happens. It's really wonderful. So good luck with that. And that's Sisters. Your intonation will also be very important when you find yourself doing things like bending notes. And bending notes is a study unto itself. And I've spent many hours focusing on bending notes. And usually there's a couple of things I could just point out that you may want to be aware of. When you bend a note, if you're bending 2 frets, I always recommend you coming down on the strings like this. If you find yourself playing the guitar like this, you're going to be really limited later. Because there's no real, this kind of way, there's no real dexterity in that. Some people play like this with their hand like this, and you can get a lot of dexterity that way. I usually do this with an occasional that, but this is comfortable to me. I feel like I've got stability, and if I bend notes, it feels really good to have this leverage right here and this kind of action. A lot of people, students I see bending notes, they use their fingers to bend notes, and it's squirrely. It's not consistent. If you're using your fingers, it's very hard to get to the note. But if you're using this kind of action in your wrist, see, I'm not pushing with my fingers. I'm like this. Same thing with pulling. I seem to be spitting all over the place. That happens when I start bending notes. So it's this action you're looking for. And your intonation is so brutally important when you're bending notes. And there's a couple of great exercises you can try. If you sit for an hour a day for a few weeks, a month, and focus entirely on bending notes, you're going to get very bored in the beginning, but you got to push through it and find the excitement in it. Every time you hit the right note, it's a victory. So one thing to do, if you're going to focus on doing nothing but bending notes, there's hundreds of permeations. There's just the very conventional 2-fret kind of a bend. And when I do that, it's basically 3 fingers down, and that's the note you want, 2 frets higher. So a great exercise, if you just sit for an hour and hit a note, and then bend to it, you'd be surprised how hard that is for some people. It was very hard for me for a long time, and still is occasionally. But you definitely want to get your intonation on when you're bending notes, and practice all over the place. Because low strings on the guitar are different than high strings. And if you have a whammy bar that's floating like mine, the whole feel and tension of stretching a note, all bets are off. You have to use your ear. And then you can experiment with bending 1 fret. With every finger. So the combinations are endless, how you can practice bending. I would go as far as bending things 3, 4, and 5 frets. Whoops, that's a tough one. Maybe I'll use a whammy bar to help. This is really helpful when you want the guitar to sing, because then the combination of playing high notes with good intonation and bending. Playing up high on the neck and stretching notes. Very few people really know how to make the guitar sing beautifully in the high register when stretching notes. Hey folks, I'd like to tell you about the song Erotic Nightmares on Passion and Warfare. And this was a song I remember. I'm sure you can relate when I tell you how cool it is when you pick up an instrument and just a cool riff comes out. Isn't that nice when that happens? And I remember once I picked up the guitar and I just went... I just thought that was so cool. You know that it's something you like when you just keep playing it over and over and over and over and over. And that's what I did with that riff. And I thought there's a song in there someplace. I didn't know what the song was, but I knew I had the riff, and that was enough. Once I started imagining what the song could be, the entire vision just came. Not every part, but just the concept of the song just came. So one of the things that you may want to try is, if you come across a kind of a cool riff that you like, is just tape record yourself playing it and listen to it and listen over and over. Now, one approach obviously is to just continue to fool around and see what you come up with. But another approach is to just stop and listen to it and imagine something. Imagine an intensity or a groove or an emotion. And for this song, a bunch of that happened. One of the first things was the riff, and then the desire to create like all these different sort of passages, not a melody per se. Erotic Nightmares doesn't really have a melody to it. It has fragments of audio tapestries. And that was conscious. You know, I knew what I was doing. In contrast to Liberty, which is all melody. There's no rules. Come on, get with the program. You don't have to listen to what other people deem as being law. The law is what you want. And that was the law for me for this song. No melody. Just bizarre stuff. And it was fine. And I can't really play through it because there's so many effects. I can't really demonstrate what I play, but I can play it for you and tell you what I was thinking. I'm thinking that it was faster than I remember. So this is just kind of setting the song up. And I have one of the things that I've done throughout my career, because I love engineering so much, I produce, engineer, and mix all my own records. And I would always do a mix of a record, of a song, usually 99% of the time, without the lead guitar, or what we call a naked mix, so that I would have something to play to. And when I had to learn the song or whatever. And I actually released naked mixes of virtually all my tracks in what's called Naked Tracks, Steve Vai Naked Tracks. And I think there's 7 volumes. But here is the naked version of Erotic Nightmares, where you can hear what I recorded first, the rhythm track. So this is the verse. So you got the verse there. Now I'll play you the verse with the overdubs, the guitar melodies or sounds that I put on it. So just that section there, it's what I was thinking was call and response, no real melody, kind of just like one of them, all different tones. Every little segment has a little bit of a different tweak, one's clean. So there's this one section where the guitar solo is in reverse, and at the time, there was no such thing as digital. So we'd have to actually take the whole tape and flip it upside down and put the left reel on the right side, and then record forward while the track is playing backwards. And then when you flip the tape, you get this backward sound. So in this song, there's all these little sections, not very melodic, but kind of sound effects and stuff. And I was just experimenting at the time with sound effects and different things I was trying. I remember this was 30 years ago. So, and this one funny effect that I picked up back then was with the bar, the whammy bar, and also pinch harmonics. Many of you already know what pinch harmonics are. It's when you hold your pick a particular way and you squeeze the pick and you get you kind of like stimulate the note or stun the string and create a harmonic. And they're all over the place. Especially if you've got some distortion. That was amusing to a 27-year-old Steve Vai. So that turned into those two riffs. So the point there is if you're playing and you come across something that's quirky or interesting that you like, bookmark it, make an exercise out of it. That's one of the things that I always do is when I can't do something and I'm learning it, I make an exercise out of it. So I might take something like and just, because it doesn't work all the time, because you have to, every time you move your fingers to a different position, the place where that harmonic will come out is different. So if you sit for an hour and just that was a riff in my vocabulary, but if you come across something like that and you make an exercise out of it and just focus on it, meditate on it, funny things are going to happen. You're going to be forced to find yourself in the riff. One of the things I like about this song is there's a section in the middle. Actually, audibly, all of the tapestry of sounds came from a dream that I had. I had this really bizarre dream that I was playing the guitar, but there was this sound that was coming out of it, and I saw myself doing this in the dream, where I don't know why, but I was blowing into the guitar like this, and all these weird, beautiful, kind of like flute sounds were coming out. Total illusion. Smoke and mirrors. But in the dream, it was real. And I was blowing in, and there was this weird kind of hole in the guitar that only certain notes would come out, and it sounded like this flute, you know? And I just thought, I woke up, and there was also these other very interesting sounds. So all these sounds you're going to hear, most of them were done on the guitar by doing different things, hitting it, try to find ways of making, sounds that that just... That is a sound, just pulling the whammy bar out. Things like that. One of those. You know, this happens when you just sit and fool around with the instrument for a while. Things like, you know, obviously, that was one that came out. That was one that I thought was kind of funny. That was one, you know. All stuff like that. And you can hear all that stuff going by in this one section. I can't remember exactly how I did it, but it was like... That's the... Screaming into the pickups. That was a sample of a wave. It's more of this. Now here's the flute. It's like 10 flutes. And this is all backwards guitars now. This. So you get the picture. And so that was a slice of a song and I encourage you to try this. It won't come out sounding like that, but it'll come out sounding like something that's in your head. And I said, I've got this section. I want it to be mostly all these weird guitar sounds that I've never heard before. Or that I've never played before. And that became that section of Erotic Nightmares. And that's that song.
Thanks for watching our Educator Spotlight. Now just a reminder that you can join TruFire for free and get a 14-day free trial of All Access. No credit card required and no strings attached. Come ignite your guitar playing with TruFire. Practice smart, play hard.